Are you ready to get philosophical?
I fucking love this shit.
Beautiful listeners, you are worth all the stars in the sky.
Hell yeah.
And at least 2 perfectly cooked grilled cheeses.
Hell yeah. Does a bear shit in the woods?
Sometimes. He's been known to shit in a liquor tent. Yeah, pick up a book, losers.
Pick up a book, losers.
Welcome to the Based Banter Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another awesome, amazing, spectacular episode of the Based Banter Podcast. I'll be your host today, Jerry, and as always, I'll be joined by my co-host. And if you are one of our first-time listeners, let me give you a little rundown. So, we take turns hosting. I have a topic that I want to talk about that I've done a little bit of research, and I have some talking points and an overarching theme sometimes. But anyways, first, my co-host, Joey, how are you doing, buddy? What's new in your world?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic, man. You know, just kind of taking back control of my health, getting out of that mental rut, playing some game, living life, man. I'm on the cusp of achieving this true euphoria naturally, dude. It feels amazing.
What does it take to reclaim your life, man? Because I know so many people that get in that stage and they just lose it because it's too tough.
I think first and foremost, you need to recognize.
You need to recognize.
Now, you need to recognize what it is that you enjoy that gives you that sense of feeling and that benefit. And then you need to lean into it, right? And then you need to hold yourself accountable and then just start the process of recovery, because it doesn't happen overnight. Eventually, you know, each day it gets better and better until you just wake up one day and you find yourself on the other side.
It sounds like you have to give yourself compassion, kindness, and understanding.
Right, and it's also the knowing of oneself. Like, if you don't know what you need to do, it's infinitely more difficult. So for people who aren't aware, I say try everything. Try doing something new, pick up a new hobby, go to the gym, work out, you know, start a new project, you know, whatever it is. Maybe it's watching a new TV show. Maybe it's indulging in some new music or creating something for the first time.
The world is an oyster, man.
Yeah, try things and be okay with sucking at it.
Yeah, embrace the suck, as we have mentioned in a previous episode.
For sure.
Buddy, so I hear it's on the up and up then.
Yeah, man. I'm feeling
we all have
great.
seasons.
I'm feeling good. I'm heavy as fuck. None of my clothes fit, but I feel good.
Your chair looks like it's complaining.
I'm complaining that the chair is too small now. I don't know what happened.
So half of this room now is Joey.
You know, fun fact, these sleeves just fell off on their own. I didn't cut them. They just kind of tore through. My arms just kind of exploded the sleeves. And my wolf tattoo now looks like a bear, so that's a problem.
It went from wolf to husky.
Yeah, we got issues, but we'll deal with them. Yeah, man, it feels great. It feels great to feel great, and I'm just gonna enjoy this time because you know what? With every sunny day you have, there's always that storm cloud coming, and with every stormy day you have, there's always that sunshine on the horizon. So I'm just gonna ride out this high and this good feeling while it lasts, and then I'll be ready when the stormy clouds come.
Yes, sir, man. You cannot appreciate the flowers if there's no rain.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
man. So I've been playing. I may have talked about this before, but dude, I've been playing some Crimson Desert, man. And dude, holy shit!
So for our
Fucking
listeners
shit.
that don't play video games,
Shit.
See ya. But no, seriously, Crimson Sky. Give us a rundown.
Crimson Desert.
If I've never heard of, I keep calling it that.
Crimson Sky is a dope name for a game, but this is particularly called Crimson Desert.
Okay, I'm talking about my game.
Crimson Sky.
Crimson Sky.
Where you fly around with your little jetpack and you harvest clouds.
And you're chasing dragons.
Ooh, I'll be chasing dragons.
I'll be chasing one specific dragon. It was that one time I was on top of it all. And it's that dragon that got me there. We got to catch him.
Yeah, man, I know about that life. You get the dragon once and you're chasing him for the rest of your life.
That's it. So what dragons in your life have you been chasing? It's this Crimson Desert. I didn't call it Crimson Sky this time.
This game. So it's kind of current, kind of relevant, and it's taking the video game world by storm. It's so good and bad at the same time that like it makes you furious at other video game developers, right? Because we all played the games like Call of Duty where, you know, they're on their like 80th rendition of Call of Duty and it's like cut and paste, right? You know, reskinning of the old games.
It's very formulaic.
To me, it looks more like the passion in the art is just gone, right? Now they're just pumping out product to make money. So, and you can feel it when you play the game. Now, with Crimson Desert, dude, you can feel the love and care and passion that was put into this game by the amount of detail and the amount of like mechanisms that you can do, the sheer density in the world, the fucking characters, the story, the designs, from all the way from your first moment you turn the game on to your 200th hour into it. You're like, I've barely fucking scratched the surface.
That's a big claim. So you're saying that with everybody trying to sell a product, especially, right, that's how it's got to work, because you can't have game developers without the other side of it where they are making profit to be able to continue to do what they want to do.
I think the issue is that a lot of companies were once a very passionate, driven company putting out amazing games like Call of Duty, fucking Modern Warfare. The original one was great. The first Black Ops was amazing. The stories, the campaigns, dude. No one even cared about the multiplayer. Like, that was just a sidebar. The fucking stories of those games was phenomenal.
You remember whenever they used to have good campaigns?
Right. So that's the point that I'm making, is that somewhere along the lines, the passion involved with the creativity process, it's just lacking. But here's the issue. We as consumers, we still buy into the product, even though they're lackluster and there's just no fucking passion involved with the creativity of it. So I think that, like, as a consumer, it's our responsibility to start calling these companies out on their bullshit, because if you keep pumping out this bullshit, we're going to eventually turn away from it. And then games like Crimson Desert's going to come along where the devs are so passionately involved. Dude, this game's been out for a month. They've already put out 4 major patches in relation to the community feedback. People were saying,
CD Projekt Red could never.
Dude, no, they did the same thing, dude. When Cyberpunk came out, it was a hot fucking mess.
Hot dog water.
But if you play Cyberpunk now, one of the best games ever made, hands down.
Right, but one could argue with the development team the size of CD Projekt Red, for the time it took them to make this game playable compared to a smaller dev like the beloved Crimson Sky. I know I said it. But Crimson Desert, like, what's the name of the dev
Pearl
team?
Abyss is the company behind Crimson Desert.
And I've been hearing wonderful things about them, like actually like rewarding their employees.
Yeah, so I've read an article. I don't know how true it is, but recently they just put out a massive bonus of like $3,800 to like 300 plus employees. So that just goes to show you that behind the scenes, they're working their asses off to give us a product. They're listening to consumer feedback, and they're actually implementing the feedback. And then they're rewarding the team behind it because it's working. This is working.
CD Projekt Red could never.
Dude,
look, I'll throw a lot of shade at them, but I love Cyberpunk.
And The Witcher 2, dude. The Witcher 3 was one of the greatest RPG games ever made. And it still holds a fucking very special place in my heart. I love that game. And at the time when it came out, you know, it had a lot of work. I think the point is that you do have games that are released, they have a crunch line, right? Like, there's a deadline. They have to get the game out by a specific time. If it's ready or not, sometimes they just release it. And then they rely on the player-based feedback and they make implementations and patches that often make the game better. But here's where Pearl Abyss is doing it far better than others, and they're ruffling a ton of feathers by doing this, because and it's evident with the IGN fucking rating. They got like a 6 out of 10. That is an atrocity. They gave Marathon like an 8 out of 10.
Oof.
And
that their credibility just went right down the toilet.
So you get, and then you have all these hit articles from like IGN and other fucking gaming companies that are trying to like put out these hits on Crimson Desert, because the way that they're doing this is, I guess it's gonna raise the company's standard. And now these games that are lackluster, that are going to come out after this, they're going to be viewed as hot fucking garbage water, because they don't have the same kind of drive and passion and effort that was put into it.
So how much or how often do games like this come along?
The last time I felt this way about a game on its release was probably Skyrim. Because Skyrim, it just... in the way that Crimson Desert feels is the way that Skyrim felt when I first played it. Was like it was fresh. It took the community standard, and it raised the bar. But even Skyrim had its issues, right? Like there was bugs, there was issues.
There was quite literally a bug on the intro where you'd be in the carriage, you're awake, and because they couldn't, for some reason in the coding, just a lone butterfly could fly onto the track and completely glitch out the game and make it unplayable. Just a simple butterfly flying onto the path. And it took them a while to figure that out, too. They was like, why does the game keep crashing?
Nice. But even still, that's almost a 20-year-old game at this point.
I guarantee most people that have played Skyrim would sacrifice maybe a toe or a finger to get to experience it for the first time.
Oh yeah,
all over again. And
yeah, dude,
I'm one of those people. I would. There's so many games I'd love to experience for the first time, just not knowing the twists and turns and how invested I'm going to be, and talk about this for ages.
And dude, honestly, for all the hype that I've given Crimson Desert, it does have its downsides, right? Like I'll say, Skyrim does something that not many games have done, and that's made like really memorable side quests. Like you just stumble across a tomb and you just pick up an object, and then it starts this crazy quest line. And you didn't have to do that. It's nothing. It was completely optional, but there was depth to the quest. Now, Crimson Desert does have decent side quests, but a lot of it is just, fetch quests. Go here, grab this, bring it back. So there's not a whole lot of like really great side quests in it. But I will say, where it lacks in certain areas, it excels in other areas, like the combat mechanics, like the fucking graphics, the exploration of the world, and the rewarding of going off the beaten path and just seeing something and going to it. That's just one of those beautiful aspects of this open world RPG system that they have going for them.
So I'm pretty sure one of the biggest sort of RPG games like this that's come out in the past couple of years, I'd have to say that I see a lot of people talking about would be like Breath of the Wild 2.
Right. And there's a lot of comparisons between the two. People compare Breath of the Wild to Crimson Desert, and there's a lot of people who argue, there's a stark contrast that Crimson Desert might have borrowed a lot from Breath of the Wild. But I'll argue that a good game borrows a lot of the great aspects from other good games, and that's exactly what they did.
There's this quote. It says, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal," and that's to say, right? So it sounds very visceral, like they're like taking and having
they're copying their swag.
But the ramifications of that is that whenever the great artist steals, they make it their own, and it is something that comes like, it may be inspired, it may be almost the exact proto copy of whatever it is, but a great artist will add their style, their flair, whatever it is.
Right.
And it's not just like a recycling. That would be borrowing.
Right.
So
you know what they say, man? Like they say, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. So if you do something well enough and you start to see other people borrowing your formula, then you really must have like hit hit on something. You must have really done well. Personally, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I played Breath of the Wild about a year after it came out, and I just did not see the hype. I just could not get into it.
Didn't care for it.
Didn't care for it, and I'm a huge Zelda fan. But I'm an OG Zelda fan, like Ocarina of Time, like back on fucking the Game Boy. So
N64.
in N64. So like I fucking didn't really care too much for it. But also I didn't have like any expectations, and so I went into it blind, and I was just like, this is kind of boring. Also, I like more of a realistic kind of graphics, so that might have been one of the reasons why I didn't buy into it. But here's the thing, just because I don't like something doesn't mean I think it's trash. And I think that a lot of people get the two confused, right? People will come up with their own opinion about something, and then they'll say, this is a trash game, therefore it must be a trash game, when in reality, it's not for them. It's for someone else, right?
Yeah, buddy, and I can relate to that. Just, being a person and having my own taste. Because there's games that get recommended to me, and I give them a real earnest try, and like I really try, but a lot of times, man, these games just ain't my flavor.
Right.
Sometimes, and a lot of times it's with the mood. It's with the vibe of the day, the moments. And sometimes the vibe is just a cozy game. Sometimes the vibe is something grindy. Sometimes it's more action-packed. Sometimes it's exploration-filled.
Right.
But unfortunately, there comes times where I want all of that in one game, and I don't want to think about what I have to play or what I can get to play.
I'm not trying to make an ad for Crimson Desert, but dude, I'm telling you, there's times when I turn that game on and I'll stick to the story and I'll just grind out the story. But then there's times where I turn it on and I just pick a spot on a map I haven't been to. It's 4,000 meters away. I don't fast travel anywhere close to it. I just go on this stroll and I run into things on the way. Like just yesterday, I was scrolling through the desert and this fucking tank was driving down the desert with fucking cannons, and it was just shooting cannons off to the side, shooting spears out the side, and I was just on my way to a spot I had never seen, didn't know this was even in the game, and I was like, okay, now I guess I'm fighting a fucking war tank.
Okay. See, that's pretty funny and eventful. So was that a part of like a storyline, or was that just
that's just some additional shit. It might later in the game be something that I'll have already done, and then I'll be like, oh, I need this tank destroyed, and I'll be like, actually, I've already done that, and then he'll give me the reward for it. So a lot of times that's the case, right? Like you'll come across an encampment, you'll clear out the encampment, liberate them, and then you'll find a dude later on who's like, my little daughter was stolen, I need you to go rescue her from the camp, and then you're like, I've already cleared that camp out, bro. I didn't see your daughter anywhere.
You go up to the town square, and there's some asshole shouting about Debella this and whatever that.
Dude, here's something really cool. Not to just keep driving this Crimson Desert kick, but like here's a really neat aspect of this game. So you'll run across an NPC who will be like, you know what this town needs? It needs a statue in honor of our town leader. And it'll be like, get your buddies to build us a statue. And then you go to your camp, you get all your workers together, and then you send them to this location, and then they'll start building this structure, and then you can go and stand in front of it, watch them build it, and through time-lapsing you can sit there and watch the construction of this monument be built throughout the days.
That's a pretty nice touch. It happens
in fucking real time. It's just a little fucking details. Like it's not just it's just there one minute and when it wasn't there the next. So it's like, and then you can find a chameleon walking across the ground, and as it walks through a bush, it'll turn green. Then it walks into the sand, it'll turn brown. Just these weird little fucking details, man.
It just feels really alive.
It just makes you fucking ask the questions like, what the hell have I been playing? Has this shit been possible this whole time?
So you're saying it's that dramatic of a shift? Like after you've been playing this, you're like, what are these other games?
Right.
Like, what are they doing? Why aren't they doing this? Or
I will say this. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it's really good about stuff like that. But even that game, as in-depth as it is, it doesn't have the depth of creativity that this game has. It's very fucking good.
So what would you say about the difficulty levels and how that plays into the experience? Because Kingdom Come 2 is notoriously difficult.
Yes. I will say that I think for difficulty in certain games, there's certain games you want to play, right? Like, I don't go into, fucking Pokemon expecting every Pokemon battle to be a fucking fight to the death.
It's
difficult Pokemon.
Dark Souls.
Right. So I go into it. I want to level up my Pokemon, then I want to beat the gym leader, then move on to the next territory. But if I want a real challenge, maybe I'll play Elden Ring or like Sekiro or fucking the Wukong fucking, and then where those boss fights are actually demanding and grueling, and the fighting mechanics are just so in depth and entwined, and your build really matters. So those kinds of games, that provides that service. Whereas like Kingdom Come's difficulty level is based off of skill. Like, you can level up to a point, but like if you're just not good, it's going to be really difficult. And with Crimson Desert, there's so much emphasis into so many other different mechanics that the boss fights often or not, at least for me, were very easy, because I'm a very like I focus on my build. I focus on my equipment. I focus on learning the moves.
Very technical.
I'm very technical because I'm an Elden Ring Dark Souls player. So I know about how to like build up a character and focus on my stats and my attributes to really grind out a gangster character. So when I go into these boss fights, they feel often or not lackluster, but they're cinematic still. Like I've had some fucking gangster fights where
you can watch this live on Twitch. Follow Joe at Arcano Joe.
They feel like you're playing an anime, right? Like just the visuals and the fucking encounters and the cinematography just feels great. But as far as difficulty wise, it's really not that hard if you're prepared.
So I want to know how the difficulty. So you explain how it kind of plays into, but whenever you boil it down, so would Crimson Desert be as fun if it was as challenging, if it had to be more technical?
So
and then the same thing with Kingdom Come too. You wouldn't enjoy Kingdom Come if it was easier, right?
Right. For Kingdom Come, like I had this sword fight with this guy in this cemetery of this church while it was storming, dude, and it was just so like the cinematography in it, and the guy was the hardest swordsman I had fought up until that point, but I had honed my skills to that point too. So it was like when I beat him, it felt good. Like I felt like I did something. But with like Crimson Desert, I know if I have the right kit, I can beat anybody. There's real no level of difficulty. Now here's the thing though. The community gave feedback to Pearl Abyss saying, hey, this game feels too easy, or hey, this game feels too hard, because some players were going right into boss fights without developing their kits, and they were getting fucking smashed. And that happened to me. I went into a boss fight too soon. I was getting one hit KO'd, and so I knew I need to go back, revisit my stats and my kit, and come back with a better build. But certain players don't have that, right?
It's not as clear for other players that haven't played like Souls-likes or Souls games.
So they complained about it, and Pearl Abyss listened. So they came up with a way to please everybody. And some people don't like this, some people do like this, but they added a difficulty settings. So now you can go in, you make the game easy, or you can play at the base game difficulty, or you can make the game more difficult. If you find it too hard or too easy, then you just increase the difficulty.
Does it make it more accessible, or does it kind of close it down to where like the more hardcore gamer is just like, nah, get this trash away from me?
So there are those people, right? There are those people who are like complaining that there's a difficulty setting. But to my argument for that is play the game how you want to fucking play it, right? Like if you want it to be hard, play it on hard.
That's a hot take.
If somebody wants to have an easy, chill experience, let them have an easy, chill experience. You don't got to dictate how other people's experiences are.
That's a hot take. So you're telling me you could play a game and just enjoy it however you like and not have to worry what other people think?
And you got to think, dude, Crimson Desert, Pearl Abyss are fucking geniuses for this, because now they've opened up their market capabilities to a larger majority of people. People in their 60s who are gamers, who don't have finger dexterity to be able to have the reaction time to certain boss fights, can now crank the difficulty level down to easy and still feel that rewarding sense of completion of beating a boss.
And still get to live in this lively world where
And still be a
chameleons
gamer.
are running along.
Dude, and still enjoy the shit. So you got to think about everyone as a gamer, not just yourself and what's accessible. Because if you want that, dude, Elden Ring is still there, dude. You can still go and play Elden Ring. But I'll argue that game's easy to me now. I'm on New Game Plus 6. I fucking beat that game 6 times to a point now where I'm so fucking OP. I'm like level fucking like 400 something that like I'm fucking running through shit. And it's just, even that game can get easy to a point.
So New Game Plus 10, you have to go fight one of the developers like in a fist fight.
It eventually
in
gets to
Mortal
a point.
Kombat.
It gets to a point where you go and you do PvP. You sit there, you spawn people into fight, because your biggest challenge is going to be other players.
Oh goodness.
And people set up lobbies for that, dude. They'll find a nice setting in Elden Ring. They'll pick like this really cool ass area. They'll spawn you in, and then there's this sense of sportsmanship, right, dude? It's a beautiful game. Honestly, it really is.
Okay.
You'll sit there, you'll bow at each other, you'll ready it up. There'll be this rule where no one uses Estus flasks. You just fight to the death. Full health bar down, and then it's just whoever wins, whoever loses. And if there's multiple players, you take turns. No jumping, no 2v1.
The honor system.
The honor system, dude, and it's
wonderful.
glorious. And that's there if you want it. Not every game has to be like that.
Yeah. In multiplayer games, though, it does become a little bit more, let's say, constrained, or you don't get the option to play as you would like in most multiplayer games. In multiplayer games such as like Minecraft,
Right.
you can still do like all your stuff, but in other multiplayer games where there's like a mission or cause or objective,
Right. Like
You don't-
Overwatch or Marvel Heroes.
yeah, if you're on a team or facing against people, it's not going to be the same thing, and you won't be able to play it how you want. So
Right, for sure. Like for
That's-
me though, like to not be able to play the game, to your point, is I think as a good gamer will adapt, right? So you look at like Marvel Heroes, for instance. You see a team structure of like you got 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 1 healer, and then you're left picking your character.
what do you choose?
What do you choose? Do you pick the team comp, or do you pick whatever the fuck you want, right?
Do you just play for you?
Do you play for you, or do you play for the team? And if you want to win, you pick the team character that's gonna do the best. So for me, I try to get good with a character in every class that is compatible with other characters that other people pick.
All right, buddy, I'm going to put you on the spot. So you mentioned a good gamer. So then that implies the existence of a bad gamer.
For sure.
So let's talk about the spectrum of good to bad gamer.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how does one be a bad gamer?
A bad gamer is someone who will use multiplayer as like the example, right? It's someone who is
Now,
just selfishly playing the game for themselves. They don't care what anyone else is doing.
Are we
They're-
going to exclude the hackers and cheaters?
Oh yeah,
Is
we'll
that-
exclude those because
so
that's clearly obviously bad.
That's in a different bracket of
Right.
gamer.
Right. Those aren't even gamers. Those are fucking just hackers that are playing a game.
They're cheaters.
They're cheaters. They're just
That
the
ain't-
scum of the earth. Fucking low bar, fucking poor quality human beings.
You hear that? If you have ever entered a cheat code, Joey is judging you, and
Hey,
he's going to become your
dude,
sleep paralysis
If
demon.
it's a solo game and you're just playing Grand Theft Auto and you want unlimited ammo, by all means, dude, go balls to the wall. Add all the mods you want. But if you're competing against other players and you're just cheating because you suck, fuck you, dude. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that was the distinction I wanted you to make.
Yeah.
I was like throwing it up there. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all cheats. You
No,
use a
because
cheat,
not all
but-
cheats are bad. Because like you get to a point where you love a game so much and then you beat it and there's nothing left to do. What do? You break the fucking game.
So then there's a little bit of a gray area too with exploits.
Right.
Exploits in multiplayer games where you can like dupe stuff or
Right.
what do you
Right.
think? Is that still cheating?
I think if it's an in-game mechanic, not cheating. But if it's like an exploit that the devs will eventually patch out, then you might have found an exploit that's probably not fair, therefore makes the game play not desirable.
So I have a good example of this game-breaking exploits to where have you ever heard of DayZ?
Yeah.
DayZ is a for the people that don't know, is a survival game, like zombie survival game, multiplayer, persistent maps. And whenever you get to the points of survival to where you are thriving and you want to build a base, the materials for building this base are scarce and they are spread all across the map. And what these people do, they will exploit the game and dupe a bunch of items, like building items, and then they'll build bases or, terrorize people.
See, I find that to be on the bad gamer scale.
That's probably not as great
Right.
as I was leading it out to be.
Right. So, but also, if it's in the game mechanics, you can't blame them for taking advantage, right? Because if it's there, they're going to do it. I have an example for you. It's very similar. In Arc Raiders, but prior to the patch, you could find certain items and then you could duplicate those. Then you could extract with them and make a ton of money. So people were going into the game, getting these items, duplicating all of these items, like it was like some rubber ducks or some shit. And then you could come back and then you'd sell them and then you just have fucking thousands of dollars, right?
So is that fair?
To me, that is, if it's there for everyone to do, then it's fair. And eventually they took it out. It wasn't necessarily making you better at the game. It was just an exploit that people took advantage of.
It changed the gameplay loop to
Right.
where you had to do this or else
Right,
you
and
couldn't
honest
keep up.
gamers would not have as much money or as much gear or as good kits as other people because they weren't doing these exploits. So that's where the fairness kind of like is bridging that gap. So I think, again, if you find these exploits and you're honestly doing them repetitively until to get an edge on other players and gamers, that falls under the bad gamer category.
I would
Whether
say
it's
that.
whether it's fair or not, it's not meant to be played that way.
So whenever you are mentioning good and bad gamers, this isn't like a question of skill, is it?
No, well, no, dude, because every gamer is a good gamer if they're playing fair, even if you suck. Because, you'll get good if you stick with it. Everyone starts at a different point, right? Nobody starts off great. We all get there at some point if you stick with it. But, if you're fucking inherently just selfish and cheating, then you're just clearly a piece of shit. You're just bad.
I see what you're saying now. It's kind of like a mentality.
And then there's some gamers. There's some that are an entirely different breed. There's these people who they'll figure out. I wouldn't even want to call these exploits. I would just call these people having high IQs that they learn through sheer hours of gaming that there's better ways to do certain things, and then they get so good at them they learn how to time shit, like the people who count the raindrops in games to figure out the timing and the sequences to fucking attacks and maneuvers and shit.
Right.
Like, those people are so good it almost isn't fair to the shitty, the people who are average.
So can something like that flip that spectrum and make them a bad gamer because they are using this extended or this intense passion or energy? Or is that the payoff, is that they can get to do that?
That's the payoff. I think the payoff is that you've gotten so good that you become the best.
You become the noob slayer.
You become the noob slayer, and you're just unfortunate if you come across these people, right? You just have to be unlucky because there's also supposed to be a thing called skill matchmaking, right? Where you're supposed to be match made with people with like-minded skill levels as you across multiplayer gaming platforms, and that sometimes is not always the case. And here's another aspect of bad gamers that people don't think about a lot is Smurf accounts.
I was just about to say Smurf because that's right where this was organically
Yes.
leading up to. So
Yes.
on the spectrum, Smurfing, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm just going to say that's a bad fucking gamer.
That's a terrible gamer,
That's a
dude.
horrible gamer,
You're just
dude.
creating a shitty experience for someone who's just now getting into the game, and you are now skill matched with them because the account you've picked has a low level and it's not got a lot of hours played into it. So now you're match made with all these people who don't have the experience you have, and then you're taking advantage of them with your knowledge. Even though you are good, you have put in the dues and you have paid your dues to become good. Now you are reaping the benefits in a grimy, slimy
gross
way.
way because you are picking on people that don't even have a fraction of your hours in
Right.
this.
It's like being a fucking 40-year-old going to a playground and fighting all the toddlers.
Just because he lost a fight against a 39-year-old.
Right. He's just like, I can't beat this 39-year-old, so I'm going to go fuck up all these noob-ass little kids.
All these 9-year-olds.
He's like, you just got to hit them once and they fall down crying, dude. You don't even have to hit them a bunch of
This
times.
one time I picked one up and hit another one and the rest went running. It was so empowering.
And you know, I see why they do it, because it's easier. They feel gratification because they don't want to feel that, like, oh, I can't get better than these people because they're so good. The skill gap is too far.
I can see it being a huge stroke of the ego, because then you're just like, oh yeah, I can fucking pwn any average player.
Right, but
But
if you
the-
have any
but if
sense
you-
of morality, dude, you're
but
not
if-
going to do that.
But if you think about it critically, being like, okay, my peers, right? Because these new players aren't my peers, because they aren't the same
No.
people that have put in over 100 hours on this game. Like, where do you match up against your peers? And then that's whenever your ego really gets the test. But let's digress from this. I want to talk a little bit about the state of gaming news, right? Because it's changing, man, as capitalism grows and
Right.
these corporations are more and more involved with their nasty, sticky hands all over
Right.
this wonderful art.
Right, and most video game companies aren't just primarily video game companies.
Right. If they aren't just a video game company, then they are what? Private equity.
Right.
They're diversified in some way.
I should specify, I mean like console companies like Sony and like Microsoft.
Oh,
Yeah, but
there we
like
go.
Pearl Abyss, like those devs, I think they primarily make video games.
And I think that is how it should be, because whenever video games become commodified, it bleeds. It doesn't leave anything. It just bleeds the life, the purpose of it out of it. Because we don't play games to just be distracted. We don't play games to just escape. No, I will speak for myself. I play games to go to another reality that is worth escaping to. It's not that I just need an escape, I'll just play a game. No, it's whenever you find an amazing world like this Crimson Sky,
He's trolling at this point.
then you want to escape to that world. Then it becomes like this desirable path to escape.
Right.
Right? And that is different from just this product that they want to sell us. But in gaming news, a big story broke about how PlayStation is being grimy with the license permissions
Right.
over their games. So what I'm gathering from this article, or from their release or whatever, is that whenever you buy a game from this certain point on, I think it's like the 31st of March or something, but if you haven't connected your console or played online or whatever it is, some sort of connectivity to the internet within 30 days, they are going to revoke your privilege, your access that you paid your hard-earned money for the software. They're just going to revoke it and pull it straight off your console.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, let's paint a scenario just so I can kind of like get this information correct.
Yeah, let's understand the full levity
so
of
let's
this.
say this is implemented and I'm moving, right? I'm moving my home. In the process of moving, I disconnect my router, I disconnect my PlayStation, and I'm moving all of my furniture and all of my shit into my new home, and it takes several weeks to a month even to
let's
get...
just say like your PlayStation gets misplaced. Like
Right.
in the
Whatever
whole travel,
happens.
it's like, oh, it got left behind.
for
We're going to
whatever,
have to go back and
something
get it
happens
months
and
later.
I don't have access to my PlayStation for like 2 months, and then I turn my PlayStation back on. Am I going to have to repurchase that game again to be able to play it?
That is what it is looking like.
That's
Any game,
fucked.
game bought. So all of your titles that you've bought now are exempt to this. But anything purchased after like the 31st of this month goes into that effect to where they can just pull. And that's fucked up, dude. That is fucked up. And
That's
that
really
makes,
corrupt.
that makes me really favor the piracy side, because if buying isn't owning, then stealing isn't like taking anything.
Right. that's I get that, man. That's kind of shitty, and I get why they're doing that, because to me that's like the same as shitty as like overdraft fees at a bank, right? It's just
that's a pretty good analogy.
It's just taking money for something that clearly you don't have to do. Like, there's no need for that money. That's just surplus profits. Like, how many times are people going to buy the same game 3 times before they just say, fuck this game, I'm not playing it ever again, because I'm not buying it for a 4th time?
How many times have you bought Skyrim?
With Game Pass, don't gotta buy it. so
yeah, I think
but I have bought like Grand Theft Auto 5 like 3 times, but that was because it's such a fucking old game. You get a new console, you have to buy the new version of it.
2 consoles later and still no GTA 6.
Yeah, it's coming, dude. It's supposed to come out in November.
But yeah, this is a horrible development, and I'm hoping that they face some backlash and like change this, or that there's some workaround. But what is with these companies hating the preservation of video games so much?
What it is it's people who are looking at every gamer as a statistic, as a number, and every game as a statistic and as a number, and then they see profit margins, and then they see all of this as like a way to make more money. It's all about money. If it wasn't about money, if it was just about the sheer art and creativity and experience of the game itself, then when you buy something, then you own it, that would be the end of it. But since we live in this reality where these corrupt ass governments and businesses want to squeeze every drop out of you, they're coming up with new and improved ways of being complete dipshits, and they're gonna keep draining you until there's absolutely nothing left. And I hope there's backlash too, man. I hope everyone takes their PlayStation, fucking sells it or throws it away and plays a different console, or just fucking gets a PC and plays PC.
Dude, if everyone voted with their wallets, like the day it happens and nobody buys a game, and then they're just like looking at their chart, they're just like, okay, we're implementing the big change today.
Big drop.
What? I've never seen the number of that.
Call of Duty had 1,000 cells? What the fuck? I'll never financially recover from this.
But that's it, man.
That's what it would take, though. It would take millions of people to come together and boycott this corrupt agenda before these corrupt individuals change in the benefit of the consumer. Because as long as people keep buying the product and they keep feeding the machine, then these corrupt businesses will keep making things more and more corrupt to exploit and take advantage of consumers.
Okay, so with the Xbox Game Pass, is that kind of what we're seeing, where people are flashing out and being like, nah? Because I know me personally, whenever they did this last hike, I said, fuck that. That is way too much. Like, I barely play this enough to justify it as is, and then you're going to raise it that much more. Like, dude, I will just buy my games. And guess what I've done since? I've bought my own games, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, because, I mean, not only is like my catalog a little bit more diverse, but I'm saving money because I'm not buying like crazy games.
There was backlash. I mean, Game Pass did face some backlash for that, and I think that's why they're in like a new like structural phase, right? If the article I read is correct, which, you know, who knows what the real story is, but the article that I read was talking about how there's a new leadership behind the Game Pass. I don't know if it's a chairman or a CEO, but there's this woman who came on, and the idea is that they're going to make Game Pass cheaper, it's more affordable, and instead of having a catalog predetermined for Game Pass, you're going to be able to curate your own Game Pass experience.
So you kind of pick out what genres of games you like to play.
Whatever games you want, you'll be able to curate your own Game Pass. Which to me, it sounds like it's in favor more for the consumer. It's trending in a way that it's going to let you pick games you'll actually play. Because how many of those games on Game Pass did you just scroll through?
Okay, so let me...
You're just like, fuck that game.
Let me counterpoint.
Fuck that game.
Let me counterpoint and say that's a win for the company, because then they don't have to supply a wide range of genres and games from different ranges of developers, because... if you're stuck in your way, you won't need to explore. You won't need to try new games.
It just depends on what's available for you to curate. Because there's going to be that catalog that you'll be able to pick from. That would have been your full catalog on the original Game Pass. But since Game Pass is cheaper now, you'll be able to pick out specific games that you'll actually play.
So would it go from a range of like a catalog of looking at like a few hundred games to like 60 games that are more tailored for your experience?
To be honest, I don't know what the statistics are and how that will work. But
right.
I would imagine.
How would you know?
I would imagine that that's how it would be. Like the full catalog will be like 200 games, right? And then there's always going to be that Game Pass Ultimate where you'll just have access to everything. Then there'll be the curated Game Pass, which is cheaper. So then instead of having access to all 200, let's say you have access to 100, and then you could just pick out, what genre you like best or what games you want to play. And then there'll be the AAA ones that will be the higher tier games that you'll only get a select few of those. That's how I imagine it will go.
Which doesn't sound god-awful, but not something that I would look forward to, me personally, because I have such a strong disdain for whatever the fuck this is.
Well, it's all about
it's
to
all
me
about the Benjamins.
it's all about access, right? Because I've had Game Pass for like 10 years. I've always had Game Pass. I've never not had Game Pass. So, and used to, you would get games for free every month. There would be 2 games you got for free, and it would just give them away. And then you also had the catalog, but they stopped doing the free games because they were just putting games out nobody wanted. And then even having access to all of those games, I still found myself playing a small percentage of those games. But I still kept Game Pass because there would come a time where I would get bored of what I'm playing and I would want to just go, maybe I want to play fucking this weird side-scrolling game that just is completely niche. It's just something visually appealing. It's low, IQ, like fucking don't take a lot of effort and brain power to play, just for a new experience.
That was probably one of my favorite things about the Game Pass whenever I did have it, is that there is a button you could click, and I think it says, I'm feeling lucky, and it'll just randomize and give you a random game from all of their catalogs, and then you're just playing like some random side scroller, or
Never knew that.
Yeah, or you're just playing some indie game, and it's you would have never downloaded and played this game otherwise. And I think that's amazing.
Like Octopath Traveler, it's this weird like 8-bit fucking like game that is so obscure. It's made by an indie company, and it's just like I would have never played that if it wasn't on Game Pass. I would have never paid $10 for that game.
So what's crazy is that it is such a huge surface, but at the same time, it is a service, and
it's a subscription. Yeah,
they got to make money off of it.
The second you don't pay that, you're locked out of access to those games.
And that's something too that I feel better about now that I bought my games, I own them.
Right.
I don't have to worry about, is this going to disappear off the Game Pass next month?
Right. Even if it did disappear, though, here's something that I found that with a game on Game Pass, if it left Game Pass, as long as you still had it downloaded, you could still play it. But if you uninstalled it, then you lost access to it.
See, my mileage varied with that. Some games would actually work, but if it was like closer to a AAA title, they'd nix that like the next day. But yeah, that's been my experience, is that I've been able to play games after they was off of Game Pass, at least for a little bit. But like I'm saying, it's a service. Like it would be an amazing thing for people to, kind of like what GameFly was trying to do, where they were like, pick out a game, we'll ship it to you.
Oh, dude, people kept keeping the games.
But
GameFly's still a thing too.
It is still a thing. But the idea, though, like the service, is it's selling this idea that it is like a big service for everyone, that, you have this access now through us.
Right.
And then Game Pass gives you that access to playing a bunch of games where the risk is way lower. You're already paying this monthly thing to play the games that you want to play. Well, there's also these like a catalog of games that you haven't played and don't know about.
Right.
So I mean, it has its trade-offs, but at a certain point of the price range, that's where I had to nod out.
Well, here's the thing for me where I see the great appeal to all of this is that certain games don't have a lot of replayability, right? Like, once you beat the game, you're done with it. And I would feel like shit if I paid full price for a game, beat it, and then I was just like, I'm never playing this game again.
Oh, buddy, I would argue it depends on the content.
Yeah, for
Because there's
sure.
a game that has probably little to no replayability, but I would still put it in like my top 5 of best games I've ever played just because I love the whole experience of it.
Right.
And it does have the option to go back and play through like the story and like choose different dialogue options, but the gameplay is still going to be the same. You're still going to spend like the same 8 hours doing the same thing with the story to like just like little changes to it. But still, the game I'm talking about is called Dispatch, and Dispatch doesn't have a lot of replayability. I mean, sure, you can go back through and like change your dialogue answers and it like changes little paths along the story, but overarching, like after you do that, you only have like what 3 options from each game.
Yeah, there's only so
each
much you can
playthrough.
do.
So the playability is low, but the content of it, I loved every second while I was playing that game.
Now, based off of what I said earlier, I'm going to repreface this by saying that's your experience.
Yeah.
That's your perception. Other people might not find that same value in a game like that. So they'll look at something like Crimson Desert, as a massive game that you can easily spend 500 hours playing and still not beat it.
Almost infinitely
and then revisit
replayable.
it over and over. Like No Man's Sky is just unbeatable. Ark Survival Evolved, unbeatable. Games you can revisit, they hold their value to a point where it's like your $69 is going to go a lot farther ways away. But then there's games like Dead Space, right? It's a phenomenal game. But you beat it 2 or 3 times, there's nothing left to do besides cheating and exploiting the game.
Okay. Counterpoint to the point I was making is that if I had to pay double the price of what I paid for that game, Dispatch, then I would probably not be as happy. I'd be
Right.
complaining about that a little bit, but
Right.
I think it's price fair for what it is. It's not a $70 game, and it doesn't act like it is.
Right.
But that's a big thing, is replayability and to be able to have access to our games.
Right.
There's a movement going through the European parliaments, the Stop Killing Games movement, and it's basically just trying to make sure that we don't lose media. Because at one point, these teams worked really hard to make this product, this game, passions, sacrifices to make this work of art that is playable and that can live on. And what Stop Killing Games, the movement, is trying to do is to make sure that these games that require servers to keep going on, like the servers get maintained, or that they don't revoke the access, like emulation. Emulation, if you legally own the hardware and the game, you should legally be able to emulate whatever you have.
Right.
It shouldn't be a question.
The issue with emulation is if you start making money, right? Like if you're trying to sell your emulation.
Dude, you know how much money Nintendo could make if they just fucking put out some emulators of their old fucking games?
Dude, listen, there's some good Pokemon fan-made games, right? There's some really fun Pokemon fan-made games, but, the people who spent the time to make these games can't make a dime off of it. And often or not, even though they're not making a dime off of it, they still fall to the copyright and licensing.
These people, knowing that they're working on this project, knowing that it will not yield them any financial gain, at least substantially, still pour in their sacrifice and this passion into this project. And stuff like that is amazing to see. And I wish corporations could be like, hey, what you're doing is actually super beneficial for like the community as a whole.
Right.
I will find my own way to monetize this, but I want you to continue to make great content.
Right, but instead we see the opposite. We see, you're using our likenesses, therefore we're not making any money from you, so we're going to shut you down and prevent you from creating this art that could in terms actually benefit our business as a side effect.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that's the-
grimy in a way. That makes people turn their nose up towards Niantic and Pokemon because they're like, dude, you guys are fucking putting out shit ass games.
Shit games.
I mean,
I didn't even buy the last one.
I didn't even buy the last one either. Scarlet and Violet I thought was okay. It was fun, but like I just don't feel it. It feels like
you look at other games that the Switch is capable of doing and the processing, and then you look at the drop of frame rates and stuff in the distance, and it's just like, okay, the first Pokemon games were very minimalistic, and they worked in that way because it's still like the imagination filled in the gaps. But now that we have this intense like processing like effort, or like computers and shit, whatever the words are, like now that we have the actual technology to do this, it's almost expected.
Dude,
like the imagination shouldn't be used for something that we know.
How about this shit? How about the repurposing of old games and then reselling them as full price games again? They fucking took Fire Red and Leaf Green and sold them again on the Switch. So now you can play Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch, but it's like you even if you owned the game prior to that, you had to pay for it again to be able to play it. A game you've already played that's 30 years old.
So that's kind of the downside of what I was saying is like, they could make money by re-releasing some stuff, but I think full price for a 20-year-old game is not it.
It's crazy that they even have this idea to do that, and all it is they're shelling money for shit they've already done, and they know we'll buy it because we're suckers for that shit. Nostalgia wins every time.
So then it's that double-edged sword, isn't it? Where we would like them to re-release this shit, but they're like, well, we need to make money from it.
I would rather it be a remaster, because you have this is one thing that Bethesda, for all of its controversy and all of the shit they get, that they did really fucking well, is they remastered Oblivion. And they gave
Oblivion remaster,
dude, they gave it to people for
Chef's
free
kiss.
on Game Pass. So you didn't have to pay anything to play this amazing game that was great for its time, but now it's revamped with new mechanics and new graphics.
Oh yeah,
it just feels like a new game.
I bought it day one.
It's so good.
I was so hyped, and then there was like no like coverage surrounding it. It was just like, oh,
dude, they came
Oblivion remastered
out of nowhere too.
And I'm just like, nope, you ain't gonna fucking do that to me.
Yep.
My game, bought it.
Yep, and it was great. And it's great. I have like 150 hours in that game. I fucking love it.
But a remaster like that serves just about everybody in that chain, where the consumers get like the same nostalgic kind of feeling, but revamped, and they get to enjoy it to like a fuller capacity. The companies in the chain get to, make more money off of it.
And they're testing their technology.
That's
what I think all of that was, is I think in lieu of the Elder Scrolls, I think it's 6 now that's coming out. I think what that was a test
of the game engine.
On the engine and how they're going to make the mechanics and the physics work. Which we're going to see New Vegas and Fallout 3. Those are getting remastered.
So I learned something about Fallout New Vegas, is that the source code, it's lost. It's lost to time. Well, not technically just lost to time, but whenever Bethesda acquired, what are they called? Obsidian.
Yeah.
There wasn't like an agreement that they will have to hand over that source code. And as time has gone on, that source code has kind of just been misplaced. It's somewhere.
So they'll have to rebuild this bitch from the ground up.
They will have to rebuild. And one of the developers from New Vegas says, I don't think they can do that. Like, they don't have all of like the parts required and the knowledge and the dedication, the passion. I mean, this was somebody that worked on...
with enough time and effort, all they would really have to do is, I don't know how technology works, but I feel like the source code could be baked into the raw data. And if you had a way to strip the raw data,
like reverse engineer it?
Yes, like reverse engineer. I know I'm speaking out of terms. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it sounds to me like you could reverse engineer this shit and then revamp it with the new age technology.
So to my understanding is that what people that crack games do is kind of the reverse to where they break it down to the source code. But then there's a lot of loss in between there because the code... Well, I don't know. I'm speaking out of my ass here.
That's all we do here, buddy.
That's all we do.
That's what it's all about, man.
But I do want to wrap this up, buddy. This has been an amazing conversation about some games.
Quickly,
do you have an overarching
all right,
message?
real quick. I just want to spotlight some of my favorite games that I've played in the past, year so far.
Yes, we are excited to hear about these games.
So,
you have some good game takes.
So Crimson Desert has been phenomenal.
Even though it's called Crimson Sky.
And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, phenomenal.
Even though that one's called Kingdom Deliverance Come.
And then all the Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, absolutely phenomenal. Baldur's Gate 3, phenomenal.
Shrek 3
is phenomenal, dude. Shrek 2 though. Shrek 2. Those are just some of the games that I've played recently. That Skate, dude. Skate's been another fun one.
So I do have a bit of a topic for Skate, so be on the lookout for that, because has Skate, the new Skate game, robbed skating of its culture? Find out.
How is that even a thing?
So, well, just a quick overview is that whenever they were building the Skate game, they included everybody except for skaters. So then the culture...
There's no, Nyjah Houston.
There's no, real skate.
Yeah, no Ryan
to the
Sheckler.
Skate. So, and then whenever we was talking about the game and we were playing through it, I'm like, it's just missing something.
That's what it's missing.
And I could have never placed it. It's missing the culture.
It's missing the culture.
But... You know what's not missing the culture, buddy? Us. And you know what's not missing the culture? That's you guys. And you can find us on all of our social medias. We are the Base Banter Podcast. Base Banter Pod at Facebook.
You can do this. You got this, buddy.
Base Banter Podcast on...
You can do it. I believe in you.
X.
Close.
Podcast on X.
It's just podcast on X. all right. We'll send you with this. It's Base Banter Podcast on Instagram, Base Banter Podcast on Facebook, Base Banter Podcast on Gmail, where you can send us emails directly to our accounts and tell us any topics that you want to talk about or want us to talk about, and any kind of ideas and commentary that you want to add. And then you can also find our streams on streaming platforms like Spotify and YouTube. That's Base Banter Podcast, where you can find some shorts on YouTube as well. Every episode gets posted to Spotify and YouTube. And then you can always find our personal accounts. Mine would be Arcano Joe on Twitch, where I stream weekly. I'll be streaming Crimson Desert indefinitely until I beat that fucking game. And then you can find Jerry on Jerry Contrite, where he's working on whatever the fuck he's working on.
I'm trying to beat Crimson Sky.
He's trying to beat Crimson Sky, this imaginary game. And then beyond all of that, guys, thank you guys for listening.
This has been another amazing episode of the Base Banter Podcast, and you can definitely tell who handles the social media. Peace.